Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Golem Telly. I am your host, the magical Mr. E. So it's the second show of 2025 already, and it's also the second part of my Smash Hits double bill. Last week I was checking out a copy of the magazine from 1985. Tonight, as promised, it's time for the stickers. This is the Smash Hits sticker album from 1985. Let's get on with it, shall we? Let's take it over to camera 2 right now. Let's stick it under the Retroscope and let's zoom in together. Okay folks, here we go again. I've been looking forward to this one. It's the Smash Hits sticker album 1985, or to give it its official title, the Smash Hits Collection 85. And who have we got on the front cover? There's John Taylor of Duran Duran. You got Frankie Goes to Hollywood here. Marilyn with, what's that he's got written on his face? Man, Love, Fire. Man, Love, Fire. Okay, here's Wham with that classic Make It Big album cover picture. That's the one from the cover of that album, isn't it? Andrew Ridgeley here, partly obscured by the C and the O of Collection. Looks like he's got some Sue Pollard glasses on, doesn't it? And there's George Michael with his hair looking perfect. Here's Madonna wearing a very 80s jumper indeed. Nice colour, sort of a rosy pink colour. And there's the Thompson twins. And in name at least, twins they may be. But as we all know, there are 3 of them. And it makes sense, I guess, that this is right at the heart of the 80s. We're right in the middle here. We're bisecting the decade, 1985. So it doesn't get much more 80s than this. And that, of course, is not just reflected in the images on the front, but also the design of the cover. Look at these colours and shapes all over the place. You've got triangles, a curly whirly thing, some dots. Yeah, all the shapes and pretty much all the colours are covered. And the whole thing is presented in a very refreshing yellow. And I think the back cover is looking every bit as good as the front cover. Howard Jones there and Nick Kershaw, 2 of my absolute favourites. There's Iron Maiden and Depeche Mode, more serious bands. I like the way Tony Hadley's face is lit here. His eyes are kind of illuminated like he's peering through somebody's letterbox. There's Paul Young, dressed down for the occasion, just wearing a white t-shirt. And Sade, taking herself and her music very seriously. And what's this over here? Some writing on the back cover of my copy of the album. And I know it's upside down from where I'm looking, but I can read that easily enough. It says 23 Maria. What's the significance of the number 23? And who was Maria? I guess we'll never find out. Okay, so upon opening the annual, we get a nice introduction here. It says, "Welcome to the Smash Hits Collection 85. It's even better than last year's. Yeah, I think 1984 was the first time they did one of these sticker collections at Smash Hits. And another information-packed 32-page album that builds into an exclusive picture gallery of all this year's most famous faces in pop music. Collecting the stickers is simple and shouldn't cost you much, especially if you swap any spare ones with friends. There's 144 stickers in all, and most good newsagents stock them. They come in packs of 5, 20p per pack. What's that, 4p a sticker? 5 4s are 20, yeah, 4p each. And if you've still got a few holes in your collection, you can always write to mini cards and order up the stickers you need. Full details on the inside of the back page. The Smash Hits Collection 85, stick with it. Now, I'm not going to read the whole contents because there's not much point. We'll see who's in the album as we go through it. So let's turn our attention straight away to the first page of stickers. And of course, it's devoted to Wham! And we all know how the story goes, but let's just remind ourselves of a few of the basic facts. Wham! Are the brainchild of George, Michael and Andrew Ridgeley, who after forming ska band The Executives, got a deal on the strength of a £20 demo of Wham Rap in 1982. Ignored on first release, its follow-up Young Guns Go For It shot into the top 10 after a lucky break on Top of the Pops, closely followed by a remodeled version of their first single. Now, you can pause this if you like and read the rest of that introduction. I'm not going to read every single bit of text in this album, it'll take too long. So instead, let's just take a closer look at the pictures. And we have 2 very nice shots of the boys together here and here, and nice individual pictures of George and Andrew. George Michael was born George Michael Panos, 25th of June 1963. He lived at the time with his parents in the outskirts of London. Cypriot father, a successful restaurant owner. George once sacked for serving customers wrong drinks. Formed Wham after A-levels with school friend Andrew Ridgeley. Recognised as driving force and musical brain behind group. Capped huge success with solo #1, Careless Whisper. And over here, Andrew Ridgeley, born 26th of January 1963, so he was a little bit older than George. He met George Michael at North London Comprehensive, and that was Bushy Meads, which is just round the corner from where I live actually. And he introduced George to fashion and style. Used to be inseparable night-clubbing soul boys together. Except for some simple guitar playing, Andrew's role in Wham seems to be as someone for George to bounce ideas off. In 1984, joined growing list of stars who've had nose jobs. That's very personal, but okay. There's no such thing as useless information, so thank you for sharing that with us, Smash Hits. And here on pages 2 and 3, we got a whole double-page spread actually devoted to Frankie Goes to Hollywood. 3 group photographs and then individual pictures of all the band. Holly, Paul, Pedro, Nasha and Mark had all played in bands in their hometown of Liverpool before forming Frankie Goes to Hollywood in 1982. The name was taken from an old American movie magazine headline about Frank Sinatra's move from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. An appearance on the Tube brought them to the attention of master producer Trevor Horn, who signed them to his new Zang Toom Tum label. Is that how you pronounce it? I've never been 100% sure, so correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments down below. You know how it goes. Their first single, Relax, was released in 1983. An energetic piece of dance music with cheeky lyrics. Cheeky. It took 3 months to get into the charts before the BBC banned it, and it shot to #1, even returning to #2 weeks later. You see, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Definitely the band of 1984, if only for the annoyance and controversy stirred up. You can see Paul here sporting a classic Frankie Goes to Hollywood style t-shirt, Frankie Say War. Now Holly Johnson is still going strong, he's performing and he's presenting and he's just fantastic really, isn't he? He's an ex-choir boy. Joined his first group, Big in Japan, in 1976 and later recorded 2 solo singles, Yankee Rose and Hobo Joe. Has always been cheerfully extrovert, used to wear social security number on side of his head. Really? And he says here, I used to shave me head and paint it red and green. Do you like my accent? Any good? People wrote to the Liverpool Echo saying, who's this Martian walking around town? I think I do quite a good Liverpool accent. You can let me know in the comments. Actually, no, don't. So we're on to pages 4 and 5 here, and instead of whole pages or double page spreads being devoted to a single band, this time we've got 9 stickers all featuring different artists. Just 1 sticker for Prince, can you believe it? I mean, I think he's probably the single most talented and most influential artist of the whole of the 1980s, but back in 1985, he was still yet to have had the kind of impact that he would go on to have. It was fairly early days back then. Prince, born 7th of June 1960 in Minneapolis. Full name, Prince Nelson Rogers. Actually, isn't it Prince Rogers Nelson? I'm pretty sure it is. Son of jazz band leader and fronted first band Champagne aged 12. US star due to ambiguous songs and provocative stage show. International superstardom only last year with Purple Rain film and soundtrack. Produces, arranges, composes and performs his music as well as directing proteges The Time and Vanity 6. Shuns publicity and remains a mystery. And he shares this page with some real legends. There's Madness and Queen and Divine and David Sylvian, shown here after he'd left Japan. I think they disbanded in 1982. Hold on. Yep, Japan split in late 1982 and he's produced since then one very melancholy LP, Brilliant Trees, brilliant album, an exhibition of Polaroids and a book, Perspectives. Surrounded by his intensely arty aura, drawing comments like, this man sounds like he's been in bed for 3 years. That was Morrissey, by the way. But he's actually good-humoured and a lot less mysterious than you'd imagine. And on this page over here, Limahl and Blancmange. I saw Blancmange in concert last year. They were supporting Howard Jones and they were brilliant. There's the lovely Kim Wilde and, again, amazingly, Madonna, Queen of Pop, only gets 1 sticker in this album. Crazy. Let's see what it says. She was born on the 16th of August in 1958 to a large Italian family in Detroit, USA. Moved to New York age 17, primarily as a dancer. Drummed for Breakfast Club Band, played guitar and sang with own band Emmy before getting Deal. Has also appeared in films Vision Quest and Desperately Seeking Susan. Yeah, Vision Quest. Now that was the one where some of its footage appeared in the video for Crazy For You. Ambitious but insecure. Above all, I want to be an all-round entertainer and happy. Well, she certainly became an all-round entertainer, and she seems pretty happy to me. So, pages 6 and 7, there's Howard Jones with 2 stickers, and you've got Dead or Alive and the Bluebells. You remember the Bluebells, Young at Heart? There's Ozzy Osbourne looking good there, rocketed to success in the early 70s with Black Sabbath through a combination of raucous apocalyptic heavy metal and his outrageous pranks, setting fire to people, etc. Now Solo remains king of heavy metal horror, producing heavy rock spectaculars and occasionally biting heads off bats. Did he really do that? And he says here, there's nothing I wouldn't do if it's a laugh except listen to the Smiths. Yeah, but it wouldn't be a laugh then, would it? There's Gary Newman next to an aeroplane. That's Helen Terry. If you don't remember who Helen Terry was, she was the one who provided lots of those backing vocals on quite a few Culture Club songs. And rounding out this page, you got Meatloaf and Marilyn. And Marilyn is wearing a Marilyn Monroe t-shirt. Of course he is. Let's see, Marilyn was born Peter Robinson, 3rd of November 1962 in Kingston, Jamaica. I didn't know that. After returning to Britain, represented Hertfordshire schools at gymnastics before impersonating Marilyn Monroe for a living in Los Angeles. Wow, I didn't know that either. One of London's original nightclubbers, remarkably quiet in recording terms for a long period after dramatic entrance with Calling Your Name and less successful follow-ups. Oh dear. So we have pages 8 and 9 dominated by Spandau Ballet. Some very moody, almost noir shots here. Look at them, look how serious they are, but also smouldering. Smouldering seriously. Tony Hadley, Martin Kemp, John Keeble, Gary Kemp, and Steve Norman. Now what does it say about lead singer Tony Hadley here? Born 26th of June 1960. Wife Leonie, son Thomas. First record bought, double-barreled by Dave and Ansel Collins. Never heard of it. Singing influences, Frank Sinatra, well that stands to reason, Barbra Streisand and 60s star Tom Jones, with a little Annie Lennox, Daryl Hall and Freddie Mercury for good measure. Car, Opel GTE. Likes horse riding. If I believe all the stuff people tell me about how good looking I am, says Tony, I'd be a right prat. A few more bands over here. The Redskins, now they weren't around for very long. I can't honestly remember what their songs were like. It says they are a passionately left-wing group who want to combat all the bland and inane things that clog up the media. Good luck, boys. Tears for Fears, far more successful and prolific though. And the Kane Gang, now they were a great band. Sunderland-based soul trio. Instrumentalist Dave Brewis and singers Martin Brammer and Paul Woods had known each other for 10 years, previously called Kings of Cotton, about to split when discovered by Newcastle's trendy kitchenware label, also home of Prefab Sprout and Dainties. Sweet ballad, Closest Thing to Heaven, brilliant song, succeeded where rousing first 2 singles failed. More film noir style moodiness. The boys from Tears for Fears having a day off there, rolling around in the grass. Let's see what it says. Roland Orzabel and Kurt Smith began working together in Bath, where both still live. Third single, Mad World, put them in top 10. Wrongly dismissed as wimps, they've now abandoned the sensitivity of their primal therapy-inspired album The Hurting for something tougher, more rock and roll. Well, I guess that would be Songs from the Big Chair, wouldn't it? And they came out with a couple of new singles a year or so ago and they were really good. And they had a new album too, but I haven't listened to that one yet. Is it any good? And another double-page spread just packed with talent. Look, you've got Cyndi Lauper. I saw her in concert last year at the Royal Albert Hall. She was amazing, 70 years old. Still belting them out. Fantastic, what a night. And there's Iron Maiden posing in front of an angry sea. Heaven 17 here, Strawberry Switchblade wearing their obligatory bows. And what else is that they've got on? Lots of beads and heavy eye makeup. There's Thomas Dolby, brilliant singer. Remember Hyperactive? Now, my good friend Matt Cooper, if you're watching, look away now. It's the Eurythmics and Annie Lennox. The Eurythmics here turning the tables completely on gender stereotypes. Annie Lennox has Dave Stewart's best shirt on, and Dave there is just taking it ridiculously easy with some flowers scattered on his chest. Now here are the Smiths and there's Morrissey. This, I would say, is a more attractive picture than this one. Lovely colourful shirt there, and as you can see he's holding on to a small David. Over here though, it's just lots of different shades of brown and grey, and they don't look like they're having much fun, do they? Formed in Manchester in 1982 by guitarist Johnny Marr, they saved Morrissey from certain death. I was wilting very quickly and preparing for the next world. Did he really say that? Bassist Andy Rourke and drummer Mike Joyce completed the lineup, and despite large offers from major companies, they deliberately opted for rough trade. The first 3 singles, Hand in Glove, This Charming Man, and What Difference Does It Make, all classics, occupied the top 3 positions in the independent charts the same week. Wow, that's quite amazing. The last 2 also made it to Top of the Pops, their first appearance being the legendary Bunch of Chrysanths job, and the other featuring the hearing aid and National Health Specs. With 3 hit albums, The Smiths, Hatful of Hollow, and Now Meat is Murder, the band reckon the charts need them more than they need the charts. I really do think what we do is of tremendous value, declares Morrissey. Oh look, he's got a hole in his jumper. No wonder they all look a bit glum. So who have we got here? Well, it's Culture Club, isn't it, mostly? Another double-page spread dominated by one pop group. Now, I'm not too sure about this main picture of Culture Club here. I mean, the boys are all looking great. They've got some lovely outfits on, especially George, as you might expect. But the picture itself is a bit amateurish, isn't it? It kind of looks like someone's just taken a photograph of them at an office party, but the office party either hasn't started properly yet, or it's over and everyone's gone home. These pictures, on the other hand, are far better. Which is your favourite of George's outfits here? I'm going to go with that one because that blue hair is amazing. And here are the other boys in the band. You've got Roy Hay, Mikey Craig and John Moss. And Bananarama, lovely Bananarama, formed September 1979 while Sarah and Siobhan were studying journalism in London and Karen was working at the BBC. Made breakthrough via joint It Ain't What You Do hit with Fun Boy 3 before establishing themselves with Shy Boy. They live next door to each other in North London townhouses. Sarah's really moody, Karen's a bit moody, and Siobhan's not moody at all. Now, of all the megastars on this double-page spread, who would have thought that it would be Shakin' Stevens who would stand out most of all? But let's face it, that pink jacket and black shirt combo against a sky blue background, a surefire winner. Here's our legendary David Bowie. He gets 2 stickers, quite right too. The Police over here, and Sting bearing almost all. I'm liking this picture of Billy Idol here with his sheriff's badge. That's Phil Fearon of Galaxy over here, and the Stranglers and Grandmaster Flash. That's a cool picture, isn't it? Grandmaster Flash, born Melvin Glover in South Bronx, New York. Just an average ghetto kid looking for something to do. Started rapping at 14 and moved up from Furious 5 to Grandmaster after Flash's departure. Long-running anti-drugs rap White Lines his work alone. So here we are at the midway point. Here's Tracy Ullman, top left. I like this picture. Tracy Ullman, born 30th of December 1959, started career as a dancer, progressing to comedienne on TV's 3 of the Kind. First hit with Breakaway in April 1983. Appeared in Paul McCartney's Give My Regards to Broad Street. Never goes anywhere without Yorkshire Terrier Binky Beaumont. Got a couple of legends down here, Rod Stewart and Elton John. I remember seeing Rod Stewart in concert a few years ago. Actually, it was quite a few years ago, it would have been the early 2000s. And the thing I remember most of all about that concert, and I'm sure he does this all the time, but it's the bit I remember the most. About halfway through, he had a huge bag of footballs and he proceeded to kick every single one of them as far as he could into the crowd. I bet you can't do that anymore. So anybody who's seen Rod Stewart in concert lately, let me know. Does he still kick footballs into the crowd? And Elton John here. Now, I'm sure a lot of you know that his real name is Reginald Dwight, but did you know that his uncle, Roy Dwight, played football for Nottingham Forest? Not only that, but he played in the FA Cup final in 1959, which Forest won 2-1 by the way, and he scored a goal, and he also broke his leg in the same match, and he had to go off, and Forest had to hang on for the rest of the game with just 10 men, because those were the days before substitutes were introduced. I do love that story, and it's also kind of timely because this weekend is FA Cup third round weekend. And would you believe it, Forest were drawn against Luton Town, and I'm very happy to report that Forest won 2-0 this time. I think it's appropriate that Nick Kershaw gets 2 stickers here, just like his famous contemporary Howard Jones. Page 18 here belongs to Depeche Mode. 3 stickers of the band, and 1 of Dave Gahan. And what does it say about Dave here? Born 9th of May 1962, had never lasted more than a couple of weeks in any job when he auditioned for the band by singing Bowie's Heroes. Moodiest member of Depeche Mode, sits by himself at back of tour bus and gets nervous before concerts. Energetic, sexy performer. Relaxed and friendly afterwards, but says of touring that you can get quite lonely really. Hobby is fishing. There's Nick Hayward of Haircut 100 and Adam Ant of Adam and the Ants, real name Stuart Goddard of course. Level 42 on holiday over here, Alison Moyet, and there's Marillion with Fish. And I read the other day that Fish has decided to retire from singing altogether. I don't know if he's done it already or if he's about to, but that's a shame, isn't it? But good luck to him. I'm sure he's got some fantastic plans for things that he's going to do with his spare time. So here we have UB40 and lead singer Ali Campbell, and Echo and the Bunnymen with the lead singer Ian McCulloch. Now tell me, were you ever going to write to your MP but then you changed your mind and decided to write to the lead singer of Echo and the Bunnymen instead? You might think I'm talking a lot of nonsense here, but if you know, you know. There's Sade practicing her miming skills, pretending to be stuck in a box. Van Halen wearing some really colourful clothes. And down here, Phil Collins, OMD and Matt Bianco. Yep, mentioned it the other day, but I saw OMD at the O2 last year and they were brilliant, oh my goodness. What I didn't mention is that I missed Enola Gay because I had to get going quite early because I had work the next morning. And I'm assuming they would have done that one as an encore. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a look on YouTube after this and I'm going to see if someone videoed it and posted it on there. Don't know why I didn't think of that before. So here's the Thompson twins, and if you didn't believe me earlier when I said there were 3 of them, here's the proof. 1, 2, 3. Tom Bailey, Alana Curry and Joe Leeway. And Tom at least is still going strong. I think he performs as Tom Bailey of the Thompson twins nowadays. And both Tom and Alana appeared on Gary Davis's Sounds of the 80s on Radio 2 a few weeks ago. I'm not sure if those shows are still available because they tend to wipe them after a month, but I'm sure they'll be back again one day. There's Lloyd Cole over here of the Commotions, Status Quo, all wearing the same jacket. Shaka Khan, that's a cool picture. Julian Lennon looking very thoughtful indeed. And maybe the oddest photograph in the entire album is this one of ZZ Top, looking very sporty. One's wearing a judo outfit, one's dressed up as a boxer, and this guy here is riding a bicycle. Now there's a real mixture of styles on this double page spread. AC/DC top left here, Bucks Fizz just below, and Bruce Springsteen only getting 1 sticker in this album. That's crazy. Wah, or the Mighty Wah, you might know them better as. Let's see, Wah, operating name of Liverpudlian buccaneer Pete Wiley, born 22nd of March 1958, and chosen associates. Previously in legendary garage band Crucial 3 with Ian McCulloch and Julian Cope. Wow, I didn't know that. Lots of over-the-top name changes. Wah Heat, Shambako Say Wah, Mighty Wah, but some passionate intensity and biting sarcasm. Outrageously self-confident, does occasionally make brilliant records like Story of the Blues. Yeah, that really is a cracker, isn't it? Go on, put it on after this show. Now this band over here, Darley's Car, I guess that's how you pronounce it. Maybe it's Dallas Car, I'm not sure. But the band is made up of Mick Karn, formerly of Japan, and Peter Murphy, formerly of Bauhaus. Named after a surrealist work of art, they released their first LP, The Waking Hour, in November '84. We still don't know what we can achieve, they admit. Now I researched this earlier on and they didn't do much after 1984, though they did reform briefly in 2010, and they recorded some new music together, but very, very sadly, just as they were getting ready to release it, Mick Karn was taken ill, and tragically he died shortly afterwards. But the music was released, and you can listen to it now. I checked it out earlier on, I thought it was wonderful. Anyway, rest in peace Mick Karn, and thank you for the music. Here's Paul Weller by himself, and as part of the Style Council over here. Style Council formed by Paul Weller after disbanding the Jam to play more soulful music. The only other official member is Mick Talbot, previously in one-hit mod band, the Merton Parkers, and briefly Dexy's offshoot, The Bureau. I love Dexys. They're not in this album, by the way, which is a shame. I saw Dexys in concert a couple of years ago, or was it last year? Can't remember. But it was at the London Palladium and they were brilliant. Kevin Rowland sounding absolutely as good as ever. And down here, Susie and the Banshees, and there's Susie herself. Let's have a look. Born 27th of May 1957 in London, writes the band's lyrics. Her personal life is a mystery. Susie, who likes chocolate cake, would like to be a makeup artist or a pathologist if she weren't a pop singer. So let's see, who have we got here? There's New Order and Aswad, Don't Turn Around, Simple Minds and lead singer Jim Kerr. And on this side, there's Bronski Beat, Scritti Politti, Malcolm McLaren, Captain Sensible, and Billy Bragg. Now we're getting pretty close to the end, and another interesting mix of styles. There's U2 on some sort of excursion to an abandoned farmhouse. And there's Bono staring right at you, giving you what appears to be a disapproving look. And here we have Michael Jackson in his prime. Here's Robert Smith of The Cure and Mark Almond. What an outfit that one is. In fact, what a picture. And over here, Sisters of Mercy. Our band never really formed, they say. It sort of grew like mould on a slice of bread. Duran Duran plastered all over this double-page spread. Simon Le Bon, Nick Rhodes, Andy Taylor, John Taylor, and Roger Taylor. None of the Taylors related to each other, of course, but you knew that already. So let's see. Duran Duran then. Simon Le Bon once claimed that Duran Duran wanted world domination by 1984. Well, they got it, didn't they? Formed by John Taylor and Nick Rhodes in 1978, the group took their name from a character in the 60s spoof sci-fi film Barbarella. And the current lineup came together by 1980. Sporting a nifty line in frilly shirts and lip gloss, they played regularly at Birmingham's new romantic club, the Rum Runner, and released their first single, Planet Earth, in February 1981. Helped by their collective chocolate box good looks, their popularity grew steadily. These days they're past the stage of living from single to single, and are all involved in solo projects. You have to have stopgaps, says John Taylor. We have to slow down as a band or we'll burn ourselves out. I think we can go on forever, but then again, we could break up tomorrow. Well, they have pretty much stayed together, haven't they? I mean, the lineup's changed a little bit. Obviously, Andy Taylor doesn't really perform with them anymore. He's not been too well at all, unfortunately. But the other four guys are still very much together and touring and releasing new music. What was the most recent album? I think it was about a year or so ago. Kind of a Halloween album. It was called, tip of my tongue, Dance Macabre. That was it. And I think they tend to release a new album every couple of years or so. Let's hope the next one isn't too far away. And before we move on, let's not forget, on this side of the double page spread, you've got The Fall and Slade and Fergal Sharkey, looking very smart in that dinner suit. From 1977 to 1983, tremulous-voiced frontman for raucous pop band The Undertones. After one-off hit Never Never with Vince Clarke as The Assembly, started his solo career with Listen to Your Father, backed by Madness. Married to Ellen with son Sean. And later on that year in 1985, he would have a massive hit with A Good Heart. Okay, we've pretty much reached the end here. Paul Young at the top of page 32 with a couple of stickers. And down here, Big Country and the lead singer Stuart Adamson. Another musical genius gone way too soon. Born 11th of April 1958 in Manchester, but raised in Fife, Scotland. Creative core with Richard Jobson of the Skids, but quit in spring 1981. Responsible for Big Country's passionate idealism and also for characteristic bagpipe guitar playing. Devoted to wife Sandra and son Callum. Phones home 3 times a day when on tour. And finally, a reminder of how to complete your collection and order your last few stickers. Each sticker to buy separately costs 5p. That's a little bit more expensive than if you buy 5 in a packet for 20p. But you can only order a maximum of 15 stickers, so you still have to complete most of the collection before you mail away for the last few. And it says here, the quickest way to complete your album is by making sure you swap all your doubles. Get together with your friends and exchange your stickers whenever you can. You'll be amazed how quickly your album fills when you swap. So there you go, folks. That's the 1985 Smash Hits sticker album done. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. And I think you know the drill by now. let's head back to camera 1 and get things wrapped up for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me again tonight. I really do appreciate it. If you could like and share this video, that would make you a true prince or princess. And if you could subscribe to Golem Telly if you haven't done so already, well, that would make you a queen or a king. I'll be back in a few days' time with my next video. In the meantime, please enjoy the rest of your evening, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Evening shadows deepen, world around is sleeping, everyone